And I remember when you said that, I don't have anywhere else to go because I felt good about myself. And I don't feel that way a lot.
So here's the thing about Todd Chavez and Bojack from BoJack Horseman. They have what I view as the most realistic friendship out of any of BoJack's most important relationships. Mostly because it's not a friendship out of want or common interest, it's a friendship out of necessity. While PC sticks by Bojack no matter what happens, and Diane constantly challenges Bojack, eventually completely leaving, Todd kinda just be out here trying to do his best for Bojack and himself. He tries really hard to stick by Bojack through his numerous mistakes, but eventually just hits a limit, like most humans would after repeated blunders, unless you're PC, I guess. I mean, he forgives Bojack and continues living with him after he sabotages his rock opera. It clearly damages their relationship and hurts Todd's trust of him, but Todd is more willing to just take it in stride, if anything. In Downer Ending, he says that he should stop expecting Bojack to be good so that he isn't surprised when he isn't.
You know, maybe I just need to stop expecting you to be a good person so that way I won't get hurt when you're not.
Oh, okay.
And Bojack, as you'd expect, is kinda reacting like, is that a good thing? And the answer is no, Bojack, it's terrible. He should be holding you accountable for your actions, especially since you guys don't really have much in common in the first place. But instead, he's just giving you more leeway to be a shitty person and abuse him while he sleeps on your couch. And in season 2, when Bojack fails to support him by coming to his improv show, he starts to move on. But of course, Bojack is able to pull him back in with a grand gesture stating how much he cares. And this does work for the moment, but I think Bojack says it best in Free Churro about what this moment actually is and means for the future of their relationship.
And in TV, flawed characters are constantly showing people they care with these surprising grand gestures. But in real life, the big gesture isn't enough. You need to be consistent. You need to be dependably good. You can't just screw everything up and then take a boat out in the ocean to save your best friend.
Which it wasn't, especially since they haven't addressed the fundamental problems that were going on with their relationship from the start, namely the fact that they don't know each other that well and aren't actually interested in being friends with each other that much. So in season 3, Bojack unsurprisingly screws up worse than ever, and Todd finally makes the decision to end their friendship once and for all. He puts forth an extremely valiant effort and gives Bojack second and third chances to redeem himself, but when he sees that nothing will ever change, he finally gets the resolve to distance himself. And I think needing that push to do so is very, very human, because while it's difficult to leave close friends behind, it's also realistic and human to not give so many chances for redemption. After a second chance, people are far less willing to keep going, even if it is a close friend, and even more so, obviously, after a third chance.
What's that old expression? Fool me once, shame on me, but fool me twice, fiddle-dee-dee.
But even after their blowout fight, he doesn't completely cut Bojack out of his life. He still hangs in the same circle as before, so he's bound to see Bojack from time to time, and I think it's so much less TV show of them to stick around in the same friend group and general location. So often characters will cut and run, but Todd has a life here, and I think it's more realistic to see him stay and have to see Bojack in public and deal with that. He instead has to tread a fine line, being courteous and kind to Bojack in general, but not allowing him too close to be able to do damage to his own life again. Don't get me wrong, he does set a very hard line, which was extremely healthy and good for his own growth, and he did a lot of that during his time away from Bojack, discovering his asexuality and finding out what he wants out of his life, but he's also willing to just be around him in a way that Diane isn't by the end of the show, as evidenced by the rooftop conversation being the last time that they ever saw each other, presumably. Whereas Todd presents a really positive conversation to Bojack on the beach in that last episode, praising him for his progress so far and showing him that he can always turn his life around by doing the hokey pokey. But seriously, it's not shown as if Todd will leave Bojack. In fact, it seems he might be willing to be around him more than the previous few seasons, or at least will applaud his progress from a safe distance. He doesn't coddle him anymore either. One specific moment that I love is in Sunk Cost and All That in season 6, when he simply leaves the room after seeing old Bojack return.
I need to go put Ruthie to bed. Call me when new Bojack's back.
It's always evident past that one episode in season 3, you know the one, that Bojack and Todd's relationship has fundamentally changed. In fact, they're more just acquaintances than friends for the remainder of the show. But were they ever really friends in the first place? That's kind of up for debate, and I'll get more into that later. In Hooray, a Todd episode, when Bojack tries to start some big, grand apology speech, Todd just interrupts him and tells him that
we haven't talked in like a year. and that's actually been kind of working for me.
And I was glad to see that change from the Todd that was willing to accept that sort of thing in season 2. It shows some very tangible growth, and is part of the reason why Todd's character and his relationship with Bojack is so down-to-earth and realistic to me. Besides, he's not harsh, cold, or like super dramatic about it. He's very upfront and honest about why he needs the space, and it's a very calm moment overall, one that a lot of fans probably don't even remember, serving more to that realistic aspect of their relationship development. But ultimately, I think the most realistic part of this relationship was that to be able to leave it behind, Todd had to break through codependency. Let's face it. He was using Bojack for a place to live since the moment they met when he strolled into his Halloween party. Not maliciously, mind you, but he still lives on Bojack's couch, rent-free, and eats a lot of his food in rather disgusting combinations for some reason, I might add. And in turn, Bojack uses him as a way to avoid his crippling loneliness. Plus, he's a great emotional punching bag for whenever something is going wrong in Bojack's life. But as you can see, they really only stayed with each other because it was beneficial to them. They both kind of have a great situation coming out of this. Mostly Bojack, but still. So both of them are going to do everything they can to keep it that way. Bojack will sabotage Todd's success to try and keep him there, and Todd will do his best to forgive Bojack's toxic behavior to stay there. Granted, when Bojack has someone else do this for him, Diane in season 2, he doesn't have any problem pushing Todd away. I think that this tie between them is one of the largest reasons they were willing to be around each other so much. I mean, it is a question to ask, why does Bojack stick around Todd for so long if everything he does seems to annoy him? Because he needs him. And in a way, Todd needs him too. There are very few people that can make Bojack feel wanted and important, but Todd is one of them, which is very crucial to Bojack's emotional health. And because of that, it took them a while to realize that they weren't really friends at all. They were just housemates dependent on each other. Todd happened to stumble upon Bojack's house party at the perfect time in his life just after being kicked out, and Bojack had Todd stay after a particularly low moment after finding out that his father had passed. This was a friendship built out of need, not want. And I think the realism of a friendship that is based mostly on coincidence and situational benefit is something that is so common to encounter out here in the real world. But now, after they've set this distance, maybe they can start to develop a real friendship. I think that is what we see happening in season 6, and why Todd is so averse to helping Bojack whenever he exhibits his classic behavior. He thinks he could actually be true friends with new Bojack, but old Bojack, he never was friends with, and he never could be. They just needed each other at a particularly low point in their lives. And while they did help each other to grow, and they do end the series in a rather positive place, I think they would have to develop a friendship rather than rekindle one, because I'm not sure it was ever there in the first place. Anyway, after that cheery ending, why don't you subscribe to the channel? Hope you enjoyed this video either way. We really appreciate everyone who supports this channel. All the love we've been getting has just been so great, and it means a lot to me, so thank you all for that. And if you want to support us even further, you can go to patreon.com/positivity, that's POSITVTY. There you get unedited essays, and by the way, you can join for free, so you get the first couple minutes of these unedited essays. So you just need to make a Patreon account and follow us if you don't even want to pay. You can just get a couple early sneak previews of the videos before they actually hit YouTube. But if you do pay, you get the videos before they hit YouTube, unedited essays, so you can hear all of my wonderful mistakes, and you can hear me stick to the script more than I actually do in the video when I decide to change things. You can vote on whatever you want to see on the channel, and if you enjoy our reactions, you get the full versions of those, so you can sync up your own copies and watch along with us. So it's a really great way to get some extra content for yourself, but also support us in the process. And let me know what you want to see for the next video. I really have enjoyed making these Bojack relationship videos, and hey, I don't have to do just Bojack and somebody else. If there's another relationship in this show that you'd like me to analyze, I'd be happy to do it. I will probably never run out of things to say about this show. I just, you know, if it's not obvious already. But anyway, join me for the next video and let me know what you'd like to see, and like it. You have to like it.